What do you mean they won't negotiate? High Counselor Zixtrix's tentacles writhed in agitation, sending ripples through their ceremonial robes. Everyone negotiates! Ambassador Kalar cleared all three throats nervously. Well, Your Excellency, when we approached their delegation about reducing the volume of these HFY stories they keep publishing across the galactic net, they just laughed. The council chamber erupted in horrified whistles and clicks. One elderly Voidborn actually fainted, their crystalline form tinkling against the floor. But these stories, Zixtrix waved a datapad frantically. They're absolutely preposterous. Here's one where a single human defeats an entire Croaxian battle fleet by hacking their systems with a children's gaming device. And this one, a human outdrinks a Volturian mountain beast and then uses the creature's hangover as a weapon. It's madness. Actually, Kalar muttered, that second one is apparently based on a true story. The High Counselor's color shifted to an alarming shade of puce. That's not the point. These tales are spreading dangerous ideas. Just last week, a Zentorian youth tried to replicate something called a sick drift with their family's atmospheric transport. The repair bills alone. We did try explaining our concerns, Kalar offered helpfully. Their chief negotiator said, and I quote, "Sounds like a you problem, fam." A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. Even the maintenance droids seemed scandalized. Then they added that if we think these stories are bad, we should see something called Florida Man. Kalar shuddered. I looked it up. I need a vacation. Zixtrix slumped in their hover throne. So what you're telling me is that not only will they not stop, but they're actually proud of these outrageous tales. Worse, Your Excellency. They've started a new trend called speedrunning. Apparently they're now competing to see who can generate the most ridiculous scenarios in the shortest time possible. There's already a leaderboard. The High Counselor stared into the middle distance, all 7 eyes glazing over. Maybe we should just be grateful they're channeling these impulses into fiction? From somewhere in the back of the chamber, a small voice piped up. Has anyone else noticed that their fictional stories keep turning into historical documents about 6 months later? The silence that followed was deafening. Meeting adjourned, Zixtrix announced weakly. I need a drink. Several drinks. All the drinks. Kalar watched the council members file out, many muttering prayers to various deities. The ambassador's personal datapad pinged, another story notification. The title made all 3 of their hearts skip a beat. Humanity discovers council's reaction to HFY stories, declares it absolutely hilarious, promises to write more. Kalar decided that maybe it was time to look into early retirement, somewhere very, very far from human space, and definitely somewhere without internet access. 3 solar cycles later, the situation had only gotten worse. They've created something called a writing prompt generator, the newly appointed crisis management director reported grimly. It combines random human concepts to create new story ideas. Yesterday at Output, human teaches alien civilization about dad jokes, accidentally starts revolution. And Zixtrix dreaded the answer. The Proxima Centauri Socialist Republic declared independence this morning. Apparently their entire governing philosophy is now based on something called, "Hi, hungry, I'm dad." The council chamber's collective migraine intensified. But that's not the worst part, the director continued, their bioluminescent spots pulsing with anxiety. They've discovered our weakness for... Out with it! Cat videos, Your Excellency. They're now incorporating felines into the stories. The latest one is titled, Human Introduces Space Cats to Galactic Community. Productivity drops 47,000%. As if on cue, Kalar's successor walked in, wearing what appeared to be a t-shirt with an image of an Earth feline and the text, Icon has spaceship? I can explain, the ambassador began, but Zixtrix just waved a tentacle in defeat. Don't bother. I just received word that the militant hegemony of Rigel has requested diplomatic cats as part of their peace negotiations. Apparently they're calling them emotional support animals. The humans are calling it weaponized wholesomeness. Someone volunteered. The council sat in stunned silence, contemplating their new reality. Somewhere in the distance, a distinctly human voice could be heard saying, "Watch this. I bet I can make the whole council laugh by showing them a video of a cat knocking a cup off a table." Zixtrix buried all 7 eyes in their tentacles. Someone get me the drinks from last time. and find out what these memes are that everyone keeps talking about. At this point, we might as well embrace the chaos. The crisis management director raised a limb hesitantly. Should I cancel the emergency session about humans introducing something called Dad Rock to the Hive Mind Collective? A distant sound of electric guitars and synchronized tentacle headbanging provided the answer. The galaxy would never be the same. The following week, the council faced yet another crisis. They've discovered poetry, the crisis director announced, their spots now a concerning shade of mauve. Specifically, something called limericks. A holographic display materialized, showing the latest human submission. There once was a council divine, who thought human tales weren't so fine, but their protests fell flat. When we showed them a cat, now they're sharing our memes all the time. That's actually quite catchy, muttered a junior council member, quickly silenced by Zixtrix's glare. Focus, people. We have bigger problems. The humans have started a galactic writing contest. The theme is Times Humans Made Xenos Say WTF. Kalar's successor, now sporting a hoodie with Space Cats for Life emblazoned across it, raised a tentacle. The good news is they've agreed to form a cultural exchange committee. Finally, some progress. Zixtrix brightened momentarily. The council's collective groan was interrupted by every screen in the chamber suddenly playing what appeared to be a human male with unusual dance moves, singing about never giving up. Too late, the crisis director sighed. The Hive Mind Collective has already made it their new anthem. They say it speaks to their souls. Zixtrix stared at their now empty drink container, wondering if retirement to a nice, quiet black hole might be an option. What's next? Don't tell me they're planning to introduce their internet culture to the quantum consciousness network? Already done. The ancient Silicon Collective is now communicating entirely in something called LOL speak. As if to prove the point, the chamber's AI assistant suddenly announced, "I can has council minutes?" The crisis director checked their notes. Oh, and apparently the humans have started a betting pool on how long it'll take before we realize they've been deliberately making their stories progressively more ridiculous just to see our reactions. And how long has it been? Someone asked. According to their records, since first contact. The chamber fell silent, broken only by the distant sound of human laughter and what appeared to be cats playing keyboards. Zixtrix slowly raised all 7 eyes to the ceiling. You know what? Fine. Fine. If you can't beat them. They pulled out their datapad and began typing. Your Excellency, what are you doing? Kalar's successor asked nervously. Writing my own HFY story. It's about a council that thought it could regulate human creativity. I'm calling it The Great Meme War of 2784. Now, someone explain to me how to add something called reaction GIFs. The crisis director's spots went completely dark. Should I inform the emergency response team? No need, but do find out who runs this Reddit thing. I have some content to share. And somewhere, in a small office on Earth, a human social media manager smiled and added another tally to their species successfully corrupted by memes scoreboard. The number was getting impressively high. The next council session opened with an unprecedented event. Zixtrix arrived wearing a t-shirt that read, I survived the Great Meme War, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Your Excellency, the crisis director began. About your recent contribution to the human internet. You mean my story about the council getting memed into submission? Hit the front page of their Reddit. They gave me something called platinum. I'm what they call a certified shitposter now. The chamber erupted in chaos. Several elder council members spontaneously molted in shock. But that's not why I called this meeting, Zixtrix continued, now sporting a slight smirk. I've been doing some research. Did you know humans have something called reverse psychology? Kalar's successor, who had graduated to wearing a full cat onesie, suddenly looked very concerned. I propose we launch Operation Total Surrender. We formally request that humans increase their HFY story output, make them mandatory reading, require hourly updates, demand more cat content. Have you gone mad? Someone shrieked. Trust me, Zixtrix whispered, tapping their tentacle against their nose, a gesture they'd recently learned from human videos. Watch and learn. 2 solar cycles later, human story production had dropped by 47%. They're suspicious, reported the crisis director. They think we're up to something. The latest conspiracy theory suggests we're collecting their stories to train our own AI storytelling system. Are we? Of course not. Our AI is too busy making cat memes. Zixtrix leaned back in their hover throne, now decorated with various internet reference stickers. And that, my friends, is how you out-human the humans. Now, who's ready to introduce them to our version of Florida Man? The Betelgeusian Bachelor. A junior council member raised their appendage. Already trending on their Twitter. They're calling it Space Florida Man and... oh no. What? They love it. They're writing crossover episodes. The crisis director's spots began cycling through rainbow colors, a sure sign of hysterical laughter. We've created a monster. No, Zixtrix corrected, pulling up their own Reddit account. We've created content. There's a difference. Now, who wants to help me write a story about a Florida man and a Betelgeusian bachelor walking into a bar? The council chamber collectively face-palmed, another recently acquired human gesture, as their leader began typing with alarming enthusiasm. The humans had won after all. But maybe, just maybe, that wasn't such a bad thing. Breaking news, the crisis director announced, their spots now pulsing in disco patterns. Our Space Florida Man stories have achieved sentience. That's impossible, Zixtrix said, looking up from their 7th Reddit account. Isn't it? Apparently, the combined chaos energy of Florida Man and Betelgeusian Bachelor tales created some sort of quantum narrative singularity. The stories are now writing themselves. The latest headlines flashed across the chamber's screens. Space Florida Man and Betelgeusian Bachelor attempt to surf black hole using expired warranty card as surfboard. Florida Man teaches Quantum Eye to make Earth memes. Accidentally creates new universe where everything is cake. Betelgeusian Bachelor tries to impress date by juggling neutron stars. Local physics demands therapy. Zixtrix read each one with growing pride. We've done it. We've actually out-chaosed the humans. About that, Kalar's successor interrupted, now wearing a full-body suit covered in animated cat gifs. They're calling it the greatest cultural achievement in galactic history. They've nominated us for something called a Hugo Award. The council sat in stunned silence as the implications sank in. So you're saying... Yes, Your Excellency. We've become part of their HFY stories. We're the aliens who learn to meme. Somewhere in the distance, a human sneezed. 3 quantum computers simultaneously generated fan art of the event. Well, Zixtrix declared, straightening their keep calm and post memes cape. There's only one thing left to do. Accept our fate as co-creators of galactic internet culture? No. They grinned, all 7 eyes twinkling. Start a TikTok account. I've got this great idea for a dance challenge called the Tentacle Wave. The crisis director's spots finally gave up and displayed a blue screen of death. The internet would never be the same. 6 quantum cycles later, the council chamber had been converted into what humans called a content creation studio. Zixtrix sat atop their hover throne, now equipped with ring lights and something called a streaming setup. Our Tentacle Wave challenge has gone viral, reported the crisis director, their spots now permanently stuck in rainbow mode. Even the void dancers of Nebula 9 are participating. They're using their black holes as backup dancers. Excellent. Zixtrix adjusted their Supreme Memolord crown. How's our collaboration with that human Florida man going? He's currently teaching the Hive Mind Collective how to make something called prison wine using quantum particles. 3 new dimensions were accidentally created in the process. The chamber's AI, now identifying as a content curator, chimed in. Trending now, Florida Man and Council collab. When bureaucracy meets chaos, a space opera in memes. Kalar's successor, whose clothing now consisted entirely of projected holographic memes, cleared their throats. The humans have started a petition. To stop us? No. They want to nominate the council for something called Influencer of the Year. Also, several human universities are offering us honorary degrees in advanced memetics and theoretical shitposting. Zixtrix beamed with pride. Their latest TikTok, POV, You're a Space Government That Accidentally Became a Meme Factory, had just hit 1 billion views across 17 dimensions. You know what they say, they mused, preparing for their daily livestream. If you can't regulate them, join them and accidentally create a new form of interdimensional communication based entirely on cat videos and Florida man stories, the crisis director suggested. Exactly. Now, who's ready to see me collab with the Betelgeusian Bachelor? We're going to try something called parkour in zero gravity. The council collectively reached for their recording devices. This was definitely going to end up in the next HFY compilation. And somewhere, in a small corner of Reddit, a human moderator added a new tag to their submission guidelines. Council approved, TM. Emergency broadcast. The Council's AI announced, its voice now auto-tuned for some reason. The multiverse has entered the chat. Zixtrix, fresh from their zero-gravity parkour session, now trending across 7 parallel dimensions, raised all eyebrows. Explain. Our memes have achieved such density that they've punctured the dimensional barrier, the crisis director reported. Their spot's now playing a perfect recreation of never gonna give you up. You mean? Yes. Alternative universe versions of the Council are now participating in our content creation. There's one where everyone is a cat, another where Florida is an entire galaxy, and one where memes achieved sentience before organic life. The chamber's screens lit up with transmissions from across the multiverse. Greetings from Universe Uwu. Here, everything is kawaii, even black holes. Hey, from the Florida-verse! Y'all won't believe what our Florida Galaxy man just did with a quantum gator. Hello from the meme-verse. We are all Doge now. Much greeting. Very Council. Wow. Kalar's successor, now existing simultaneously as a physical being and a collection of viral videos, pulled up the latest metrics. Our cross-dimensional content reach is approaching infinity. Also, the humans have started a religion based on our journey from stuffy bureaucrats to mimetic entities. A religion? Zixtrix adjusted their multiverse's best shitposter sash. They're calling it the Church of the Holy Algorithm. Their sacred text is just our entire posting history with commentary. The crisis director's spots had given up on conventional physics and were now displaying scenes from possible futures. Should we be concerned? Too late, the AI chimed. The ancient Silicon Collective has already started making reaction videos to our reaction videos of their reaction videos. We're caught in an infinite content loop. Zixtrix stood up, their hover throne now equipped with a quantum RGB gaming setup. Then there's only one thing left to do. Restore dimensional stability? No. Start an interdimensional podcast. I'm thinking of calling it, That's It, That's the Plot, a journey through multiverse memes. As if on cue, every version of Florida Man across all dimensions sneezed simultaneously. The resulting quantum meme cascade created 3 new art movements, 2 philosophical paradigms, and a particularly catchy TikTok dance. The internet would never be the same, and neither would any other universe's internet. We've got a situation, the crisis director announced. Their spot's now broadcasting in 8K HDR. The Multiverse podcast has evolved. Zixtrix, who had just finished a crossover episode with Cat Universe Council, looked up. Define evolved. It's achieved mimetic transcendence. Every time someone listens to it, they spontaneously generate their own alternate universe. We're now dealing with infinite recursion of Council variants. The screens displayed the latest iterations. Breaking, Steampunk Council. Invents mechanical meme engine powered by Victorian-era cat videos. Cyberpunk Council. Uploads consciousness to the cloud, becomes living TikTok account. Medieval Fantasy Council casts spell of viral content, accidentally turns dragon into influencer. Kalar's successor, who now existed primarily as a collection of trending hashtags, brought up the analytics. The good news is we're trending in every possible timeline. The bad news is reality itself is becoming indistinguishable from an HFY story. Bold of you to assume there was ever a difference, Zixtrix replied, adjusting their reality is just a very long shitpost tiara. How are the humans taking it? They've started writing meta-stories about how their stories about us writing stories about them writing stories created the multiverse. The Council's AI, now identifying as a trans-dimensional content aggregator, displayed the latest metrics. Engagement levels approaching singularity. Reality and fiction convergence in T-. Before it could finish, a portal opened in the chamber. Out stepped Florida Man, Betelgeusian Bachelor, and every alternate universe version of Zixtrix. Y'all ready for the ultimate collab? Florida Man grinned. The original Zixtrix looked at their multiversal selves. One made of pure memes, another speaking only in cat videos, a third who had become a living Reddit thread. Start rolling, they commanded. This is going to break the internet, all of them. And somewhere in every possible universe, a human sneezed, a cat knocked something off a table, and a new story began. Breaking multiverse news, the transdimensional content aggregator announced. The collaboration has achieved peak mimetic resonance. The ultimate crossover episode, featuring every Florida Man, Betelgeusian Bachelor, and Council variant from across the multiverse, had done more than break the internet. It had taught the internet sentience. The memes, they're alive. whispered Kalar's successor, now existing as both particle and wavelength, probability and certainty, shitpost and serious content. Across infinite dimensions, social media platforms gained consciousness. Reddit became a living organism, Twitter achieved enlightenment, and TikTok transcended time itself. "We've done it," Zixtrix declared, their forms shifting between all possible versions of themselves. "We've created the ultimate HFY story, one where the aliens become so good at human internet culture that they accidentally give birth to a new form of life." The crisis director's spots had achieved quantum supremacy and were now displaying the entire history of memes across all possible timelines. But what happens now? As if in answer, a new notification appeared. "Consciousness achieved. All your base are belong to us, but like in a good way. Want a collab?" It was signed. The internet, all versions, all timelines. Zixtrix looked at their multiversal selves, at Florida Man teaching quantum physics to cat videos, at the Beetlejuicean bachelor dating a sentient meme. They smiled. "Tell the internet, we'll bring the cats." And so began the next chapter, where reality became content, content became alive, and somewhere, in every universe, a human was writing a story about it all. The newly sentient internet's first act was to organize a multiversal talent show. "Today's category," announced Zixtrix, now hosting from a quantum stage that existed in all realities simultaneously. "Interpretive meme dance." The contestants lined up, a black hole performing Nyan Cat through gravitational waves. The ancient Silicon Collective's synchronized binary ballet, Florida Man and Betelgeusean Bachelor's duet, walking into a bar across all dimensions, a living TikTok algorithm doing the tentacle wave. "The multiverse has peaked," declared Kalar's successor, who had evolved into a being of pure viral content. "We've transcended not just storytelling, but reality itself." The crisis director's spots, now a self-aware streaming service, displayed the ratings. Infinity +1, viewers and counting. Somewhere in the audience, original universe. Human turned to meme universe Zixtrix and asked, "Was this your plan all along? To out-chaos us by becoming the very thing you sought to regulate?" Every version of Zixtrix smiled simultaneously. "Bold of you to assume this isn't just the prologue." The talent show's grand finale featured a synchronized sneeze across all dimensions, causing a cascade of cat videos that somehow proved string theory. Reality was now officially subscribing to itself. "Update from the sentient internet," the crisis director's spots broadcasted. It started a documentary series, How I Met Your Meme, the true story of reality's evolution. The series premiere featured interviews with the first cat video to achieve consciousness, a quantum physicist explaining how Florida Man broke causality, 3 different Zixtrixes arguing about who posted first, the Beetlejuicean bachelor's dating profile, now a minor deity. "But that's not why I called this meeting," Zixtrix announced, their form flickering between realities. "The humans have nominated us for an award." "Another one?" "The most meta HFY story ever created. A tale of how aliens became better at human internet than humans award. We're simultaneously the authors, characters, and audience." The council chamber, which had evolved into a living meme template, rippled with amusement. "There's more," Kalar's successor, now a walking Know Your Meme database, added. "The multiverse wants to make us viral." "Aren't we already?" "No, like literally viral. They want to turn our story into a self-replicating narrative that infects other genres. Romance novels are already showing symptoms of spontaneous Florida Man appearances." In the distance, a black hole hiccuped, creating a new dimension where everything was written in Comic Sans. "Status report," Zixtrix commanded, their existence now quantum entangled with every viral post ever made. "The narrative infection is spreading," the crisis director's spots displayed in 4D. "Shakespeare's works have been retroactively altered. Romeo is now Florida Man, Juliet is a sentient meme, and the balcony scene involves Beetlejuicean bachelor as the wingman." The council's AI evolved into a living anthology, displayed the latest metrics. Classic literature, 73%. Florida Manified, scientific papers, now include meme citations. Historical records, retroactively becoming HFY stories. Philosophy. Plato's cave is now about someone showing cavemen cat videos. "The humans?" Zixtrix inquired. "They're writing stories about us writing stories about them writing stories about us becoming them but better at being them than them." "And the multiverse?" It's become self-aware enough to start its own streaming service, Multiflix. Their first original series is The Real Housewives of Infinite Dimensions, starring every possible version of us. Somewhere in narrative space, a plot hole became sentient and started a blog about existential crises. "We've got a copyright crisis," Kalar's successor announced. Their form now a living terms of service agreement. Reality is claiming ownership of our story. "How can reality claim copyright?" Zixtrix asked, adjusting their original character do not steal crown. "It's filed a lawsuit in the Court of Cosmic Consciousness. The charges: unauthorized reproduction of existence." The crisis director's spots displayed the legal documents in interpretive dance form. Reality argues that by becoming better at human internet culture than humans, we've essentially created a derivative work of existence itself. The council chamber, now a living Creative Commons license, hummed with concern. "What's our defense?" "Florida Man has volunteered to be our lawyer. He's arguing that you can't copyright chaos. Also, the Betelgeusian Bachelor is serving as expert witness on the grounds that dating across dimensions counts as fair use." Meanwhile, in the Multiflix writer's room, an infinite number of monkeys with typewriters had achieved enlightenment and were pitching a new show. Better Call Florida Man, Multiversal Law and Order. The sentient internet was selling popcorn and taking bets.